First of all, Crumbl cookies taste like cabinet doors.
$5 a single one and $18.99.
And if we do the math, this means that a single Crumbl cookie should be roughly 700 calories. However, the reason why it's 1,000 calories is simply because of its ingredients.
Today I wanted to talk about the pricing of Crumbl cookies. There is a lot of content online about these cookies, so I wanted to check it out for myself. I found a bunch of good clips for you guys today, so go ahead and let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be responding to every comment I get on this video. All right, let's get into it.
No. This is too much. We're a Crumbl cookie, guys. Look at the prices of the cookies now. $5 a single one and $18.99 for 4 cookies now. Seriously? No, this is too much.
So I have tried Crumbl cookies one time in my life. I think it was some sort of vanilla frosting cookie. I also paid $5 for mine, and I was not overly impressed with it at all. Crumbl cookies are overhyped and overpriced. Then don't go. Trust me, I used to and made free marketing for them, but now it's $20 each visit, so no way. That does seem like the logical thing to do here. If the cookies are that expensive, there's no reason to go regularly. I ate it once just to say I tried it, but I did not love them or anything like that.
Hey y'all, let me tell y'all about my experience with trying out these Crumbl cookies. So I was very surprised that my husband bought me not one, not two, but several varieties of cookies to try. And when I initially opened the box, my mouth was watering. I was ready to devour these cookies. So the first one I tasted was the chocolate chip. And it was just super doughy. They weren't like even the chewy kind. They tasted like if you were to grab a handful of sand, ball it up, put it in the oven, take it out. That's exactly how it tasted. And I was just very disappointed because we spent a lot of money on these. I could have made these from home. And whoever hyped them up, go to hell.
So $63 for some cookies is insane. I just can't imagine why people would buy these cookies regularly. To be fair, the prices do vary by location. However, if your area does have the higher prices, no one is forcing you to eat there. Think about all the things you could buy that are better to spend with $63. I'd rather go to a nice sit-down restaurant if I was about to spend $63 for some food like this. You might be thinking, oh, I'll eat these throughout the week. In reality, you're going to scarf them down in a day or two. You got to pick the right week. Sometimes their flavors are a little too creative. $63. Yes, I've always thought they were gritty and underbaked. That's an insane amount of money for cookies. So we've looked a little bit at the overall prices of these cookies, but why exactly do people like them?
Crumbl cookies just passed $1 billion in sales. They only started in 2017. And they have 2 secret sauces that I think we should all steal. The first one is they nailed virality. Crumbl has this. It's a weekly unboxing show. Hundreds of thousands of people stop by to tune in and basically see the rotating menu of 5 specialty flavors that will be available. That staying engaged means that consumers keep coming back and coming back. Second thing, cut out the middleman. They have 600 retail locations because they wanted to go direct to consumers, and they use franchising to get there incredibly fast. They weren't fans of existing delivery apps, and they didn't want to have to sell through a third-party provider and only make 20% instead of 100% of their margins. This means that they can charge higher fees, it means they can control their rankings, and they can also control their franchisees and the environment in a way that they couldn't if somebody else was selling their stuff. Make it viral, and then control the outcome.
So it seems like Crumbl is being more of a social media company as opposed to a cookie company. By building hype over their cookies, they can grow more organically, and they don't have to spend as much money on raw marketing. You forgot the main thing, money. They have money. I must have been living under a rock because I personally have not seen a lot of social media presence for Crumbl. I'd see their stores as I was driving by and I'd wonder what they're about. They do weekly cookie packages where you sign up and you get a new variety of cookies to try. This keeps customers happy with the variety, and it also gives them something to look forward to each week. Especially as we become more isolated thanks to social media and the internet, this weekly cookie box gives people a reason to connect with others and gives them something they enjoy, even if it is insanely priced. I can also see why they decided to sell their cookies themselves, because if they would have taken them to a big retailer, those places would have made them cut their quality to save a little money. We saw that in my first video, actually, where we are all getting squeezed when we go to the grocery store. By having over 600 retail locations, they also look much more legitimate to the general public. It's like they found a way to make cookies with an easy bake oven and then turn it into a luxury good.
You can open a Crumbl cookies for $25,000, but there's a catch. So the average Crumbl cookie makes about $1.3 million per year. And while the franchise fee to open one is only $25K, you still have to pay for the building, have at least $200K in cash reserves, and pay a 10% royalty fee, leaving the average Crumbl cookie owner basically broke with only $200K per year.
Only $200K? I feel like that could be a good investment. I mean, barely any jobs give $100K per year. Basically broke, only $200K per year. You have to be Mormon to own a Crumbl. The guy in the video makes it seem like easy money. There is always going to be significant risk with any business that you open. I also asked the most reliable source on the internet, ChatGPT, to see what it could find out about if you actually have to be a Mormon to open a Crumbl location. No, you don't have to be Mormon to open a Crumbl franchise. Crumbl's official franchising info talks about being a qualified prospective franchisee and lists financial/operational requirements. For example, a minimum liquidity of $200,000. It doesn't list any religious requirement. So it looks like that guy had no idea what he was talking about in the previous comment. People associate Crumbl with Mormon culture because it was founded in Utah, and the founders have referenced Utah's Mormon culture in interviews, and the company has said it's intentionally closed on Sundays. But that's a company policy or culture, not a you must be Mormon rule for franchisees. Yeah, I didn't see that being true. Especially with all this diversity and non-discrimination we have, I could totally see them getting into legal trouble if they were going to say, yeah, look, only this religion can open our cookie store. It would also horribly limit their growth as well.
Crumbl, count your days, because how come I ordered the pink velvet cookie and it's not even pink and it's white? It doesn't have the pink crumbs. Like, it's not even pink. If you don't have something, then just don't sell it. Like, if it's not going to look like the picture, then don't sell it.
So it looks like Crumbl will cut corners sometimes when they don't have a certain coloring product in their store. I wonder if this falls under some sort of false advertising or if this is just an employee being lazy. My question is, does it at least taste good being the wrong color?
So why is it that Crumbl cookies are so calorically dense, and what are they doing to this thing to make it into a calorie bomb? And to really find out, I also bought Chip Ahoy cookies, which are roughly 70 calories for a single cookie. And many people say online that the reason why Crumbl cookies are so calorically dense is simply because they're so much bigger than a regular cookie. So let's see if this is true. And as you can see here, a single Chip Ahoy cookie is roughly 18 grams. However, our single Crumbl cookie is 185 grams. And this means that a single Crumbl cookie is roughly 10 times the size of a single Chip Ahoy cookie. And if we do the math, this means that a single Crumbl cookie should be roughly 700 calories. However, the reason why it's 1,000 calories is simply because of its ingredients. And as you can see here, the most common ingredient for a Crumbl cookie is simply butter. And when we take a look at the Chip Ahoy's cookie, the most common ingredient is simply flour. Using so much butter is probably the reason why this single cookie is 1,000 calories. And calorically speaking, this single Crumbl cookie has the same calorie as 15 Chip Ahoy cookies. And this is simply because of how big this single cookie is, as well as the fact that it uses so much butter.
That is a disgusting amount of calories for one cookie. It's actually crazy. If you eat 2 of those cookies, you're already at your calorie limit for the day. The cookies aren't even that big or satisfying either. You're essentially eating just a huge ball of sugar and butter wrapped together. I'd almost rather have 15 Chips Ahoy cookies than just one of those Crumbl ones. And you just know there are people out there who have eaten an entire box of those in one day. It's the frosting, which is mainly butter. Even the huge Costco chocolate chip cookies are around 700 calories. It's because of the butter and sugar, obviously. This is probably just me, but Crumbl cookies don't look like they should be eaten half the time. They look like they're made of Play-Doh and are for display purposes only. Just because a Costco cookie is around the same amount of calories doesn't mean it's okay to be eating either of these cookies on a regular basis. This is exactly the kind of thinking that leads people to be broke and gain a few extra pounds. And I guarantee after a while of you eating these cookies, you're going to get addicted to them and you're just going to want even more of them.
Girl, yeah, I ordered Crumbl with EBT. Yes, Crumbl cookies today with EBT food stamps. Yes, EBT, go get yours down here at Cookie Crumbles right here. Yes, now go get it. Tell them I sent you. EBT Queen, let's do it.
Now, I'm really hoping that this is just rage bait. If it's not, that's an insane waste of taxpayer dollars. Why don't you just make your own cookies if you're going to be using EBT? That's ridiculous. EBT should not be used for Crumbl. Now, if this is true, let's just hope it's at a few locations and not a bunch of them. If they truly are doing this, someone does need to look into them.
Yeah, I would close.
Tell me why we got these last year on Easter, and I come back and my niece still has them. Look at this. Tres leche cake. There's no mold on them. I'm like, Dom, you have not thrown these away since last year. What are they putting in these cookies? That's horrible. That's disgusting. Look where they're from. Look, this was last year.
That reminds me of how McDonald's doesn't decay either. As a former employee, it's definitely whatever's in those secret black and white packets that they don't tell us what's in it. It's like a trade secret. Somebody tell me why y'all family keep cookies for a year. Now, I have a feeling they engineer these cookies to be like that, so there is little waste as possible. Could you imagine how bad this level of preservatives is for you over a very long time? There are people out here eating these cookies every week, and I'm not here to preach to you, it's your life. But making cookies at home is not only cheaper for you, but it's healthier too. Imagine stacking eating this food with other fast food that has preservatives in it, like McDonald's. You're paying an arm and a leg to have them slowly poison you. Now, don't get me wrong, I've eaten plenty of junk food too. I currently do the keto diet and it's been a lifesaver for me. Take a bite then? Yeah, I'd recommend not doing that.
The person that invented Crumbl cookies and decided to make that a big thing, bring your ass here. First of all, Crumbl cookies taste like cabinet doors. Okay? I tried the peanut butter cookie. I'm still trying to get it from the roof of my mouth.
Seems these cookies are really hit or miss depending on who you ask. We can look at the comments to see what other people think. Insomnia and Great American Cookies are two of the best. It seems like some people do prefer other companies over Crumbl. Now, I've tried Insomnia cookies and they do taste a bit more like a real cookie as opposed to Crumbl. Those cookies are harder to swallow than the truth, flat out taste like plywood and drywall. Now, that just seemed like hate from people on the internet.
So anyways, if you're from Utah, then you know that Crumbl Cookie has been stealing cookie ideas for as long as they've been in business. Allow me to introduce you to Ruby Snap. Now, I just went into Ruby Snap. They allow you to come in and they let you sample cookies and they have this rotating menu every month. Well, Crumbl Cookie actually sued three Utah cookie brands because of a rotating menu. Now, mind you, Ruby Snap has been around for years. They actually were sued by Pillsbury Doughboy because she was originally called Dough Girl, and Pillsbury Doughboy was like, no, you can't have Dough Girl. And so they had to spend all this money, and then finally Pillsbury was going to bury them in the ground, so they had to change their name to Ruby Snap. So this is like 15 or more years ago that this is all happening. Well, it turns out, and this is all alleged, it turns out that the owner of Crumbl was coming in week after week to get a new box of cookies so that he could try all the recipes.
So essentially what was happening was that Crumbl was trying to sue its competitors that also had a rotating menu. If that wasn't bad enough, then the CEO of Crumbl would go to Ruby Snap in order to steal new cookie ideas. Talk about being hypocritical. Crumbl is just an aesthetic. It's the packaging. It's something to do with your friends. I can't explain. It's like a Stanley. Crumbl sued a candle company named Crumbl as well, when the candle company existed before them. I used to work at Crumbl HQ doing social media at the hype of everything when they were once loved. And dang, I'll just say it was an intense place to work, and I was undervalued and underpaid. All right, well, that's all I have for you today. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you liked the video, it would mean a lot to me if you could hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm. And if nothing else, I will see you in the next one.